Screen Park Unlimited. So this is episode 22. Both of these ghost stories are in the Isle of Wight, and in the book we have hit chapter 3, Haunted Thoughts and Manners. So I'm going to read you the bit at the top. For centuries the island has been a strategic point for invading forces looking for a bridgehead into mainland Britain. The French network still stands from the Spithead forts in the eastern Solent to the Needles Battery, Golden Hill Fort and the Fort Redoubt, which guard the western approaches. So the first ghost story of this episode is called Ghosts of Golden Hill. Ivor Allison and his wife Jill lived at Golden Hill Fort, Freshwater, after it was bought by the Hayling Island businessman Wilfred Perkins in 1984. The fort was almost derelict when they arrived, and the couple worked to build it into one of the island's most unusual tourist attractions. They became familiar with its maze of winding corridors and arched rooms, after welcoming back ex-servicemen who were once stationed there. Ivor and Jill also came to know the fort ghosts. One of them smokes a very sweet aromatic pipe, and the aroma lingers in the corridor near our office in the early mornings or late at night when no visitors are around, Jill said. We often had people asking why there were servicemen in old-fashioned uniforms around the place. One lad saw a sailor leaning against a door in the room above the former colonnade tea room, and this same figure was seen lounging in the doorway with his pipe. Built between 1863 and 1872 at a cost of £38,000. The six-sided brick barracks, now a Grade 1 listed building, once housed 128 men, 8 officers. Its guns were intended to cover the rear of the more vulnerable coastal batteries from attack by the French regiments whose men have been stationed at Golden Hill include the Royal Artillery, Duke of Cornwall's Light Infantry, the Isle of Wight Rifles, the Royal Hampshires and the Royal Artillery of Jersey. It is thought to be a sergeant major from one of these regiments who fell or was pushed to his death during the First World War. Hated by his men, he plunged down one of the fort's 2 stone spiral staircases, breaking his neck. The accident was hushed up with official reports noting that he was killed in action. His uniform ghost had been seen on several occasions on the roof and in the old officer's mess. His fellow phantom is a 19th century sailor, one of a small number of naval waitings stationed at Golden Hill. He is at whispered attempt to sell plans of the fort's defences to the French enemy. For his treason he was condemned to death and spent his last lonely hours before execution in one of the fort's prison cells. A local businesswoman who never believed in ghosts soon changed her mind when she moved to Golden Hill Fort to one of the colonnade tea rooms. Sheila Hughes would scoff at visitors who spoke of seeing the fort ghosts. To her, it was all in the mind or tales for tourists, until one midsummer's day in 1988 when she too saw a ghost and became an instant, if reluctant, believer. Sheila was in the back kitchen once the fort's prison cells, where the double barriered windows and metal-lined doors could be seen. Everything was quiet and the first visitors had yet to arrive. She said, "Suddenly, I had a peculiar feeling that someone was standing in the kitchen with me. I went very cold, and as I turned, I glimpsed the figure of a man standing beside me. I couldn't make out his features, or if he was wearing, or what he was wearing. He disappeared as suddenly as he come, leaving behind a feeling of chill and foreboding. I was icy cold, yet outside the sun was shining, and it was a warm morning, and I firmly believe there is a presence in that building, and it's a very disturbed one." He transmitted a strong feeling of despair and fear. Sheila was convinced Golden Hill is not a lucky place. Things go wrong there for no reason. It was a folly to build it. So the next ghost story is called The Door Swung Open. In the early 1970s, Maureen Sutton of Freshwater worked at Golden Hill Fort for lampshade makers, weeders, fancy craft. One night, when she was there alone finishing an order, she heard footsteps in the room with her. The unseen visitor came closer and closer. My nerve broke, and I ran. I was in such a panic that I fell over and cut my head. With blood trickling down my face, I got out into the courtyard, and then I smelled pipe smoke in the cold evening air. On another occasion, Maureen and several other girls took the coffee break outside on the veranda as they sat chatting over steaming mugs. Heavy steel bolts on the stairway door slid back by themselves and the door swung open. The five of us jumped up, spilling our hot coffee down our legs. Then we realized that whatever had opened the door must have been on the veranda with us. Strange things would happen at the fort, but we all grew used to ghosts. Articles in the workshop would disappear. Whatever it was haunting the fort had a streak of naughtiness. We would lift bags of fabric and find the bottoms ripped open. One day an old alarm clock, which had no works inside, started to tick loudly, recalled Maureen. Palmerston pub, one of the workers often saw the ghost of the unfortunate sergeant major who would march in whenever he was working late. The man recognized the soldier's spirit and would pass the time of the day with him. However, he refused to tell Maureen the ghost's name because he said the dead officer's family still lived nearby in the West Line. Since being decommissioned, the fort enjoyed a checkered history as craft and business park with a small museum and a nightclub. Sadly, many they failed. Vandalism, fire, accelerated the fault's decline, and it was placed on the building's at-risk register. In 2005, permission was granted developers to convert the building into 18 3- and 4-bedroom spectacular and individual luxury townhouses. So that's the end of this ghost story. Thank you for watching. It's time to say cue those credits.